everybody, it's Joyce Compton with Nutritionally Correct. Thank you for coming back and joining me today. I'm going to prepare two dishes. One is a dish that I grew up in my family. My grandfather and my mother prepared it. And then the other one is what my husband grew up eating in his family. And that is dishes with what we call beetroots. So we have with us a red beet and a golden beet. And if you can see, the red beet is kind of a purplish color. It kind of has a little bit of whiteness to it. And the golden beet has a sort of an orangey color to it. They both are very hard root vegetables, and they have an abundance of nutrients in them. The beets have a little bit of iron. It has some calcium in it. Has a little bit of your vitamins, the B vitamins, and it has an ample amount of vitamin C. And since we're wanting to stay healthy, incorporating beets into your meal planning will be very beneficial to you and your family. It also has a little bit of magnesium in it and some other nutrients that I'm not going to really go into today because I really want to spend the time showing you these two recipes. The first recipe I'm going to share is a hot beet cooked in oil with onions and sugar and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. But rather than using sugar, I'm going to use a natural sweetener, the maple syrup, because I like to keep sugar out of my diet as much as I can. So I use a lot of honey and maple syrup in my recipes. So I start out by peeling the beets, of course, and then I cut the beet in half, like so. I take the two halves and I put them down flat, and I just cut them just like that, all the way around until I got about 1/4 of an inch in diameter. And as you can see, they're pretty hard, so they're going to pop out as you cut them. So it's a half of a beet that's in the recipe. And I've done that with the golden beets as well as the red beet. And I like using my chef knife. Alright, I have a medium-sized sliced red onion that I'm going to use in this recipe. And just a little bit of salt, and the rest of it is going to work its magic all together. So follow me to my cooktop. So I like to put a tablespoon of lemon olive oil in my skillet to begin with, just to coat the bottom. And as you can see, the pot's good and hot, so I had it preheating. I'm going to add the 1 tablespoon of butter, and it should start sizzling. As I put the butter, I'm going to add my beet. And I'm going to add onions. And I'm just going to stir them all together, making sure that they get coated with the butter and the olive oil. Keep in mind, a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of olive oil is all you need. And because vegetables have water-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble, a little bit of fat helps to bring those nutrients to the surface, and we can digest and utilize all those nutrients. So you don't want to put too much of water or fat, because you don't want to lose the nutrients. You want to keep them in there. So, got it all coated. And I'm going to turn my burner was on low because the skillet was already hot. And all I wanted to do was coat my turnips. I don't know if you can see it, but the olive oil and butter is on all of the beets and the onions. Uh-oh, one fell out. And I hope you can hear it sizzling, but they're looking so good. Now I'm going to take my salt and put just a little bit. I'm going to continue to stir. Still have my burner on medium high. I'm going to start out with 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. That's 1. And this is the 2nd tablespoon. This is going to give it just a little tiny taste. And apple cider vinegar has a lot of good nutrients in it as well. My husband's family always use cane sugar, regular white sugar, but I like to use a sugar source that's all natural, so I use maple syrup. So I'm just going to pour some maple syrup over the beets. I don't measure it out, just enough to coat all of the beets that's in the pan. Once I've done that, I don't know if you can hear, but the sizzling stops because the maple syrup is starting to penetrate the beets and make them more tender. And once I've done that, I just put the lid on. My lid, and I turn it to medium low and let it cook for about 10 more minutes, and then we'll put it on the plate. So as you can see, the beets are fork tender, and most of the apple cider vinegar and maple syrup has cooked down to a little bit of sauce. And so now we're ready to plate our beets. So the red beets and the golden beets are all ready to go on the plate. You can identify the golden beets because they have a lighter color than the red beets. So I'm just going to spoon some on the plate, and I have some roasted chicken breasts on the plate with the creamed turnips. So here's the finished product. Beets all plated, turnips, roasted chicken with sweet peppers. Hope you enjoyed the presentation, and we'll